Hi, I'm Darcy.
And I'm Jessica. And welcome to our Mother-Daughter podcast. Hi, and welcome back to episode 3 of our podcast. We are talking about fragrance today.
Some people aren't going to be very happy about some of the things we bring up because, to be honest, it's everywhere. We're encouraged to use fragrance and scents in our house, on ourselves. And so we're going to go through some topics as to why it's important not to have all those fragrances and scents surrounding you 24 hours a day.
The first thing we want to do in this podcast is challenge our viewers to go around your house and find everything that has fragrance in it. It could be in literally everything. Your household cleaners, those scent sprays, obviously, the Scentsy candles type things, the plug-ins. The list goes on. Candles.
Yeah, a lot of people buy scented pillows, and
That's a thing.
That's a thing. And in the old days, they were things called satchels. I think I might not be pronouncing that right, but in the old days, when I was a child, it was very common to give a gift to somebody of a little beautiful little fabric stuffed with what we call potpourri nowadays, of natural items, though. This is a little different. When you buy potpourri at the store, it's all been fragranced. So these were natural items, natural sprigs of lavender that was taken from the garden or other things, put in a little one of those things, and we put it in our drawers. If it was lavender, we might put it under our pillow at night. If we were sleeping, for our sleeping, a lot of other things that they did naturally, but now they put it all into chemical generated synthetic type fragrances, and those are the ones that we're talking about today.
Yeah, because naturally occurring fragrance from flowers and herbs and trees and plants and air. Those are so wonderful for you. Lavender especially helps with a great night's sleep. But a fragranced lavender does not. It actually can disrupt your circadian rhythm.
Okay, so our challenge is you go in each room and you look around. What do I have in here that's creating a fragrance? Some rooms won't have anything. I'm including your laundry room. That would be your laundry soap. In your kitchen, your dish soap, what you use in your dishwasher soap. You'll look at the ingredients and see if they add fragrances to it. Most likely they do. Yeah. Even your scrubbers you buy nowadays, some of them are fragranced.
Oh, yeah. And your trash bags.
Trash bags are fragranced.
Why?
Right. Why?
If it smells, take it to the garbage can. I don't understand.
Yeah. If it smells that bad, just take the garbage out.
Oh my gosh.
So, it's amazing to me how many things are fragrance for no real reason. But think about your brain being bombarded with all these different smells throughout your day. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to that later.
She has a wonderful analogy for that.
So your bathroom, your the place where you sleep, which is super important since you're there 7 to 8 hours at a time. That's important. Look at your bedding. When you go to your laundry soap, do you use those crazy scent boosters? We'll talk about that a little more. So those are the things that are important to think about what you have. If it's important to you to really do something changes, pull everything out and put it on your kitchen table or on a counter and kind of figure out, wow, look at all these scents I have.
And just visually see how much fragrance that you're bombarding your life with.
Yeah, because going into some of the research on this, some of this we already knew intuitively going into our lives.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is research that we've done. But for the podcast, we thought, well, we better get a little more nitty gritty because people will want to know that we're not just pulling information out of the air. Just goes, oh yeah, I know that. Well, how do you know it? Well, there is research behind a lot of that.
And I want to add something real quick.
Go ahead, please.
When I was growing up, she would, this goes for everything, literally everything. She would just know. And, as a Christian, we do believe that that's the Lord telling us or telling her what, don't put that in your body. No, don't. She would just know this isn't right. I'm going to do this instead. Okay. And as a child, I was like, Mom, you don't even know. She goes, I just know, just trust me. And I can tell you 99% of the time, she was correct. I honestly don't even remember a time that she was wrong. And as I've grown
Coming
In
from
my-
your daughter is like a miracle.
I know. As I'm an adult, I can admit it now. I couldn't when I was a kid. But as an adult now, I've started to kind of get that and just intuitively know, okay, that something's not right here, and then just kind of cut it out of my life. And then later on down the road, I research and like, oh, good, I'm glad I got rid of that because that was bad.
Yeah.
So
that's we want people to think that way. But when you're being bombarded by things, including social media, television, all the
gosh.
things, it's hard to have that intuitiveness if you're not having that quiet place, that quiet time in your life. You know, in our house, we don't have TV on all day long. We don't have music on all day long. We leave plenty of quiet space in our house for the children, us to have those moments. Well, anyway, Scientific American, everybody knows, you know, that magazine. I know that's been around since I was a little kid. My dad used to get it. I mean, I always liked looking at it, being the nerdy kind of kid I was. I didn't quite fit in with most people. But they've shown, actually for years now, but they don't, for some reason, it's not published out in the common knowledge, which is surprising to me. The chemical exposure to all these fragrances, they have linked to ADD in ADHD in children and to ADHD in adults as well. So, and I can't tell you how many adults I come across nowadays, my age, her age, in between. Oh, I'm ADHD or I'm ADD. And I'm thinking,
it's like a whole personality.
Yeah, I'd like to go to your house and see what's in your cupboards. I mean, that's what goes through my head. I'm just like, you know, you probably wouldn't be like that, but
that's another episode on food, though.
The fragrances are part of that. And on top of that, a lot of these issues, the children are exposed even in the womb. So if you're pregnant or going to get pregnant, this is the best time to clean out your life.
Because it's not just about you anymore.
The studies show that the kids are exposed to that through cosmetics, fragrances that you're bombarding yourself with via your environment, are more likely to suffer from ADD, anxiety, aggression, behavioral issues, all the things that then you take your kid to the doctor for and like, oh, well, we need to put them on medication.
It's also been linked to birth defects because fragrances are phthalates, and phthalates have been linked to birth defects, including undescended testes in boys.
Yeah.
And I really want y'all to listen to my mom's analogy that I was talking about a minute ago at the beginning of the podcast, because this is a wonderful analogy that she shared with me the other day when we were discussing this podcast. And it's very easy to understand. So listen up.
Okay. So any of you who have dogs, or specifically hunting or bird dogs, they have olfactory nerves in their noses that allows them to smell everything. I mean, if you've ever trained a Labrador, you would know that you can't hardly train them until they're like 6 years old. I mean, they don't get a clue till they're there, because you're like, oh, they're paying attention, sit, and then a smell would go by. You've lost them in seconds. And that's how a dog's, and they're like 1,000 times stronger smelling than we are. Now, take a human and you bombard your entire environment with all these different fragrances and scents from different chemicals. Your olfactory nerves, we have them too. They're not near as strong as a dog, thankfully. We'd all be a bunch of crazy people. But that has an effect on your brain, because you're bringing that in, and your nose is right here. It signals the brain with all these scents. And it can come out in various ways. Yeah. People who have anxieties, I can guarantee you, anyone with anxiety has too much fragrance in their house right off the bat. You know, the food is an issue as well. But that is something, because you sleep on your sheets that are, scent boosted potentially, or even the fabric softeners you use, or the laundry detergent you use. You just put all this stuff in there. If you're constantly, now think about overstimulating. Anyone who has children knows what it is when you overstimulate a child.
Mothers know what it means to overstimulate yourself.
Right. But we as people, we get so used to a certain level of stimulation that if you have a hard time relaxing, it might be related to your environment. And so us as people have to be mindful of what we put around us if we want to live a calmer life and a calmer mind. So those are very important factors. And part of why we're doing this, because we know a lot of people in our own lives that we talk to and are working with as far as trying to help get them better, because we know that a lot of these issues can be so easily fixed with changing our environment, changing our diet. Very simple things.
Those are the two very, very biggest things that you can change, and your health can very much improve. And actually, I had an experience the other day when I was in Walmart that I really wanted to bring up. And I told my friend when we had a coffee date this morning, because my older two, I think my oldest was exposed to a little bit of fragrance before I got a clue when he was really little, because I cleaned with Fabulosa and bleach and Windex, all the garbage, right? And my second, she was never exposed to any of that. My youngest, who's 9 months old, he he's never been exposed to fragrance, at least by us in our house, and we're home a lot. But the crazy thing was, I was in Walmart, and I never go in the cleaning sections unless I'm grabbing Borax or washing soda, but I hold my breath and I run in and run out. It gives me a headache walking by it, but I had to walk through the cleaning department with the plugins of the Sensi's or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And my 9-month-old, as we're walking through, and I'm going fast because I don't want to be in there because it smells. My older two automatically start holding their breath. But my youngest, he doesn't know to hold his breath or try not to breathe as much or deep breaths, right? And he literally starts hacking.
Yeah, that's surprising. Yeah.
In the middle of the aisle. And the second we leave the aisle and we're gone from there, he's totally fine. That's how we're supposed to react to this bombard of chemical fragrances, which there's over how many? Over 3,000, maybe around 3,500 of different chemicals that can be combined to make the different fragrances. There can be up to 50 to 200 per product, and they don't have to list those. Legally, they are not required to list any ingredient except for fragrance.
And that comes from our own government, because there's a trade secret legislation that allows them to do that, because if they gave up their recipe, right, then people would copy it. And that's the premise behind that.
Yeah.
And that's why, same thing under natural flavors in your food, same kind of thing, is that they can't give out their secret recipe.
Yeah.
They could put anything in there. We don't even know what's in there, which is a very dangerous thought. I wanted to touch on not another study. If you think about fragrance, because us being non-fragrance people, when we're in somewhere public, there are times because when you're constantly bombarded with fragrance, you don't really know how much cologne or perfume you might be putting on. You have no idea.
It kills me every time.
We have people that walk right by us. They could be 2 or 3 feet away from us, and we will smell them. But nowadays, people who smoke, they're like that. They don't know how much fragrance. They don't even know they smell like smoke. My mom used to think she could hide cigarettes from us. Even, we were all adults, so she shouldn't have to hide them. But she, had heart issues. She shouldn't have been smoking. She'd go down to the garage. She'd puff on her little cigarette, put a little cologne on, put some gum in her mouth, and then come back upstairs and think that we couldn't smell the smoke on her. But she herself could not smell it. Mm-hmm. It's like people who live in if you live in a dirty house, you don't smell your house. I always ask people, they come here, does our stink? Because if you live there, you don't know.
Yeah. You
don't know if there's a weird smell. So it's good to ask people, does my house have a weird smell? Yeah. Thankfully most people say, yours don't smell like anything. Yeah. One of the studies I wanted to bring up was out of Australia. UK and the US and Sweden all did the study together. And I'm going to read these off of here just because I want to make sure that they're correct. All right, because they found that 32.2% of the adult population that they tested reported adverse health effects from synthetic fragrances, experiencing all kinds of things like respiratory issues, 18%, mucosal, mucus problems, 16%, migraine headaches, 15%, skin problems, asthma, neurological problems, cognitive issues, gastrointestinal problems, cardiovascular problems. The percentages are getting lower here, but they're still there. Immune system problems, skeletal problems, and so many other problems listed at like 1%. And if that's a test that they've done, and that is an issue, that health is affected by these fragrances,
why aren't they banned?
Well, because it is America, it's a free country, it's a capitalistic country, which I'm not against. I'm not going to be that person that says go boycott this or ban that. I'm not about that. We're not political people.
But choose better for your health.
But if we choose, if the people just start choosing, and you kind of vote with your dollars how you want things to be better, that's when changes are made. You know, these companies will change if they're starting to lose money because people are like, yeah, I don't want your crazy fragrance.
Yeah.
You know, they'll start
Well,
changing that.
and like Tide Free and Clear. This one I recently looked at because I don't use store-bought detergents. With that being said, I don't obviously look at the ingredients because I know pretty much they're all garbage. And it's funny because that particular brand got brought up to me, and I was like, I don't really know about that one. So I went and looked it up, and
Yeah, because it's supposed to be scent free.
it's scent free. But it's not. It's scent free in regard to fragrance, technically, but at the same time, there's so many chemicals in that if they didn't put some sort of scent blocker or something like that in there, that you could smell the chemicals. So they have to put something in there for you to have no smell, which is interesting. So technically, there's not a fragrance.
True. Interesting. Now, if you're opposed to making your own laundry soap.
Oh, yes. Can we talk about that since we're on the topic of laundry?
Can you grab it behind you?
This is what we use for laundry soap, and it is easy, it is cheap, and it lasts a long time. Now, we used to grate our bars of soap. We would either use like a shampoo bar or plain bar, and we would grate it and mix it in, and let's try just without having to grate it, because grating soap is a tedious task, and I don't like to do that. I've got plenty of other things to do. So we mix equal parts of borax, washing soda, or laundry booster, you can call it whatever, and baking soda. You can add another equal part of Epsom salt as well. If you have harder water, it'll help soften the water. Get the unscented Epsom salt, please.
Yes.
Yes. Even if it's scented by an essential oil, unless you know the actual quality of that essential oil, don't buy it. Because if it's not organic, therapeutic grade essential oil, it could be bad, especially if it's just a generic one. Then
plus, you'd have to use so much essential oil to make it smell like anything anyway.
And the scent would go away.
It would go away, and you'd waste your money.
Yeah. I started on the unscented train and I started doing my own laundry detergent, I would put so much essential oil in this makeup scent booster stuff that I would put in my laundry, and my clothes wouldn't hardly smell from the washer to the dryer. So then I would put more essential oils on wool dryer balls and put them in the dryer, and I would get my clothes out and they would smell like the essential oil for maybe 10 minutes, and then there would be no smell.
Yeah, waste of time, waste of money.
You know how expensive good quality essential oils are? Don't do that to yourself. Learn from me, please. Yep. Don't do that. Anyways.
Yeah. So that's
this way.
Yes.
Laundry soap, cheap, easy.
Yeah. You'll save tons of money, because most of those laundry soaps have a bunch of fillers in them anyway, if you read the ingredients. So moving on, back to our air quality. This is all about our air quality, our environment. You know, our wonderful EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, who's supposed to protect us from environmental issues, they have always admitted, it's not even a secret, that poor air quality, poisoned by chemicals, does contribute to neurological problems, fatigue, dizziness, migraines, forgetfulness. There's an independent research group called Campaign for Safe Cosmetics. Okay, we'll put the link down below, I think, if we remember to do that. Put that on your list.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it links the chemicals in actual perfume to short-term memory loss, which makes a lot of sense. Central nervous system disorders, even severe depression due to an alteration in the brain's biochemistry. So if the scents in our life, our fragrances, can alter our brain chemistry, that should be very concerning for all of us. You know, that's something I didn't even know. I just somehow thought that the smell thing was a problem.
So. Nothing should smell that strong. A big thing that we normally touch on at farmers markets with our customers, because we'll have a lot of people come in, and it's a very open topic for us because they start sniffing our soap. This is one of them. We don't have very many options for soap because we don't put scents in them. We don't even use essential oils in our soap. So it has literally no smell. So people will come up and start sniffing all of our soap, our few things of soap. There's no smell. Even the ones that we infuse, with herbs, because that's what we like to do. We like to infuse with herbs and be close to God's creation. And they're like, well, this doesn't have a smell. And the simple answer is no, it does not have a smell because it's an endocrine disruptor and we don't want those in our booth. It's really funny because whether you say endocrine disruptor or hormone disruptor, half will be like, oh, what do you mean? Tell me more. And then we get to educate somebody on it, and it's a wonderful conversation, and I love those. But the other half is really funny because they just don't care. They're like, oh, okay, and then they walk away.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's not our customer.
We actually recommend one of our friends down the road.
We know people
who do use essential oils, and their soaps and things smell wonderful. I'm not going to say that they don't. They absolutely smell wonderful. Yes. But we just send them down the road and say, well, so-and-so has lots of scents down there. Some people aren't ready to make that jump, and we understand that.
But the hormone disruptor part is, I think, the biggest thing for me, and that's what really led me down the path of no fragrance and a fragrance-free life for me and my family, because hormones play such an important role in our overall health.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not saying this has to do with fragrance, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were linked to it one day. I'm sure they won't even do any research on this anytime soon, but fragrance disrupting your hormones could possibly be leading girls and boys to early or late development. Little girls are getting their period.
Well, it has to.
Earlier and earlier.
It has to, because it affects the children in the womb.
Yeah.
Developmentally. Then it's going to affect
the children. And when you combine that with the food.
Combine with the food.
Yeah. It's just a...
Right. The one thing we want to talk about, too, because I know the hard thing about this fragrance thing is that and it's not intentional that we allow ourselves to be brainwashed by this stuff. But, when you watch something and someone tells you something, everybody, the old adage is you hear something enough, you believe it to be true. If there's a gossip going around and everybody's saying the same gossip,
well, then it must be true.
Then it must be true. So that goes along with what TV commercials. They know that if they bombard you with the same commercial, the scent booster, yay, look at me in the store and holding my sheets and put on my sweater. I just washed this 3 weeks ago and I've worn it 4 times and it still smells fresh.
Oh my gosh, Alex hates, and I mean hates watching commercials. And we don't have regular TV here, except for bunny ears sometimes.
Yeah.
But we've been staying in a lot of hotels recently just because of hockey season. We'll have the TV on and they have all these horrible commercials of prescription drugs and with death as a side effect, and that apparently doesn't jog people to say no. But the fragrance ones, they'll ask you, do you want your home to smell fresh longer? I'm like, no. I answer the commercials every single time. Do you have to? Do you have to do that? Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Because it's gross.
And that leads us to, I've always been in the habit of shopping secondhand since I was a kid. And
I love those
And I brought my girls up, whether we had money or not. Part of the budget was always going to the secondhand store for clothes. Like, you guys pick out whatever you want here, and then we go to the mall, right?
I loved shopping at thrift stores. I could fill 2 shopping carts piled. Now, this is back in the day when thrift stores weren't expensive.
It's like 90s, early 2000s.
Right? And I could fill 2 full grocery carts full of clothes for like $30 and have an entirely new wardrobe.
Yeah. And if you remember, that was before the whole scent boosters, and that was before this push on all this stuff, because I don't remember that stuff.
You never used scent boosters.
No, and I've never used plugins. I've never used, I'd light occasional candle on the holidays, but it wasn't like on purpose that I didn't do those things. It's just, I didn't think about it because my generation being brought up, earlier where that stuff didn't exist. It just wasn't a thing I thought much about having. I want everything to smell like lavender. It just didn't cover my mind. Yeah. Nowadays, though, our experience with secondhand clothes has changed a lot.
It's been honestly really, really hard because I love secondhand clothes. This I got at the thrift store for like $4 about 2 years ago or last summer.
I thought you made that.
No,
she makes clothes. So.
I do sometimes, but no, I'll probably take this pattern and try and make my own. But no, I found this at the thrift store a couple of years ago. But we have to seriously detox the clothes, and it's a very long and drawn out process. sometimes it's worth it if you find something really good and it's a great deal.
Yeah.
100% I would still do it. But at the same time, those clothes smell horrible. They are loaded with fragrance.
And the people who use scent boosters and all of that, I mean, that stuff stays in your clothes forever, which is intentional. They tell you that on the commercial.
And especially the spandexy fabrics.
Yeah, you can't get it out.
I can't ever get it out of those. If I will not buy anything that's, well, it's not good for us anyways. But if I were buying spandexy clothes, I would have to buy them brand new because you cannot get it out. And maybe if you are watching and you've bought spandex type clothes, leggings, whatever, and you've successfully descented them from scent boosters, please share your secrets, because I have not found a way. I've hung things out on my line in the summer sun for weeks on end. Nothing. Strong as the day as I got it.
Yeah, can't get it out.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to list, there's 4 that are very common, these chemicals that they use in our fragrances. And they're not always listed, but it's a good way to look at them. But the main thing I wanted to bring up is what they do. Okay. And this is information that I got off the CDC website. This is stuff that they already know. This is what it does, yet they allow it. They allow it. So the first one is diethyl phthalate. Okay, it's used as a denaturing agent and also to increase longevity of wear, a known hormone disruptor. The CDC has this listed as a known hormone disruptor. They know already. Okay, we have to choose. Synthetic musks that they add to fragrances, found in almost all perfumes, almost all laundry products. They bioaccumulate in humans, animals, and the environment and cause hormone disruption. So they know that. And even our animals, think about your poor animals that live in your house. Acetaldehyde. I'm probably butchering all of these because I'm not a scientist. Okay, it smells like green apples. We know what that smells like. Okay, but that's a reproduction toxin.
Wonder why there's so much infertility. Okay, I mean, there's other things. If
you're wearing anything that has those kind of scents on you, and you're living your life, maybe it's on your sheets and you're smelling it, and you're trying to get pregnant, that could cause an issue. Benzophenone, okay, acts as a UV filter, but is an endocrine disruptor as well. Which I'm kind of guilty of that because I bought those clothes that were UV protected for my kids. Because look at her; she's a sunburn waiting to happen.
Oh, we should do a topic on the sunscreen.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
I know.
It's another one. Put it on the list.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is also an endocrine disruptor. And those are the most common ones, and they are known. They are known hormone and endocrine disruptors. Yeah. How do we as people navigate this thing? We're supposed to trust the people to some degree. I'm getting to where I don't trust anything. But up to the point where I started kind of figuring things out, you kind of want to trust that they're not going to put something out that's harmful.
Not true.
The truth is, they're putting things out to make money. And that's okay. I'm not saying that we should, again, I'm not boycotting. I'm not into any of that stuff. I'm into educating ourselves and then making better choices. That's all that we can do.
When you know better, you can do better.
The endocrine disruptors that block our hormones from doing their job is endless. And not just neurological, autoimmune disorders, certain cancers. And if you know anybody with an autoimmune disorder, how many autoimmune disorders are there listed?
Oh my gosh.
So many.
So many. And then one last thing I wanted to touch on real quick is, because I have a baby, I baby wear all the time. And I was actually thinking about this today, preparing for our fragrance podcast. And people who baby wear, imagine being a tiny little baby in this new world of yours, and you are on your mommy's chest, and your mom is wearing perfume, wearing scented lotion. Your makeup has fragrance in it. They're close to your face. Your clothes are full of fragrance. Their baby's clothes are full of fragrance. And they're on you. Can you imagine being a new little baby in this world and smelling all of that?
They have no clue what's happening.
They have no idea. And people don't know. I've done plenty of things as a parent that I didn't know better. But when you know better, you can do better. You can make that choice.
Yeah.
and do better for you and your family.
I think I was kind of a tomboy, so I never wore perfume anyway. So.
Yeah, I was horrible when I was a
She
teenager.
would buy me perfume. Mom, you need to wear this stuff from Victoria's Secret.
Oh my gosh, I don't, millennials, you know, the big pink, or they're big pink bottles with pink big letters on them, perfume. I would coat myself in that, head to toe. My poor parents and my sister had to live with that in their house.
She'd walk through the house and we would just shake our heads.
Oh my gosh, my dad has asthma. My sister has asthma.
She didn't care.
I didn't care. I was a teenager. I was like, I smell great.
She
Oh my
didn't
gosh,
care.
I'm pretty sure now looking back, I smell somebody who has that exact smell. I'm like, oh, you smell gross. I'm sorry, Mom. I've apologized to her so many times.
We're not here to like beat people up, because we were those people too.
Yeah.
This is a journey that we've been on. We've been the people that did all the things, and we get it, and we get that it's hard to make changes. But with that, we've already told you what we do for our laundry. So
yeah, we wanted to give you alternatives because it's important for us. If we're giving you this information, we have to be able to tell you what you can use instead.
And it's funny. There's so much discussion about vinegar. Both sides of the aisle. And when I say aisle, I'm not talking political. I'm talking science.
Science.
So
yeah,
you have a lot of doctors and whoever who say that vinegar doesn't disinfect, and then you have plenty that say that it does. I can't say that it absolutely does, but I am of the mind that it does. I've used vinegar for years. It doesn't seem to have an issue in our house. We're not sickly people.
No,
okay. And there are studies. There's a study actually that you're going to link to the bottom. It's an open source or open science, and that means these are independent folks that do these studies. And it's PLOS1, okay, is where it comes from. And they did a study that vinegar, it can be used to disinfect surfaces. The volatile organic acid in vinegar is called acetic acid. But the key is, I'm not sure if the white vinegar would, because it's industrially created, going to be the same.
I don't think that would be the same because I actually had this conversation with a friend today. She asked me what the difference was because I said, if you're going to buy a vinegar and use it, you need to use one that has the mother in it. And she asked what the difference was. I'm like, well, the ones who don't have the mother in it, the generic ones in the store, you don't see that fuzziness at the bottom. See that? I mean, obviously the ones in the store aren't going to be that thick, but they've pasteurized it. So you're getting rid of all of the good bacteria.
Right, which is the acetic acid.
Which would be that.
Okay, so this compound does have antifungal and antibacterial properties. So yes, as long as your dilution, that's what makes the difference. Because you don't clean with straight vinegar. No. You clean with a dilution. We usually use 1 part vinegar, 2 parts water. If you're going to use it on windows or glass, we add some rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, I'm going to link straight.
Okay, and that way, you don't have as much problem.
But we make our own vinegar because it's cheaper to do that than to just keep buying vinegar with as much vinegar that we use. Especially, we would buy the organic with the mother, all the good things. This is I think this is our apple vinegar. And the wonderful thing that you can see in here, you can see all of her beautiful scobies. SCOBY stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. Yes, my 8 and 5-year-old know that. And it's my favorite party trick. But this is what we can drink it. We can clean with it. We make a lemon one.
We do.
What we do is there's a lemonade lady in the summer. She is wonderful. And she gives us all of her, so she hand squeezes with her adorable, like, antique press, her lemonade all day at the farmer's market, and has bags and bags and bags of just
the rinds.
And I asked her one time, I was like, hey, can I have your rinds? And she's like, sure, I just throw them away. So I take those and we make our lemon vinegar from that. We sell that still on our website. We use it like crazy. We clean with it. We'll put it in our laundry if we want a softener. Mm-hmm. There's just a million things. Yeah. I wouldn't really recommend drinking the lemon one just because it's super acidic.
Too acidic, yeah. Wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, cleaning with it is great. She makes a wonderful pine vinegar. She's very picky about pine needles. There's a whole process involved that we won't get into, but the result is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's the smell. is amazing. And so you can make vinegar from scratch. It's not extremely hard. It takes a while. We have these two going back here. This is our hair vinegar. These will be done in a week or so because I'm running out of hair vinegar and I need that.
We use it for our hair rinse. You see, we're
that's our
replacing
conditioner.
shampoos. We use shampoo bar.
Yep. So we have, this is actually our elk soap bar, but
yeah, elk fat soap, which is my favorite.
Yeah, we made this. My husband was gifted a elk from his boss, and we went and picked it up, and we butchered it in the garage, and we saved all the fat, and we made soap, which was awesome.
And you know what's fun about this? It doesn't smell. Mm-mm. When you make your own soap, which is not a hard process, and we found that the cold process is easiest.
Don't try hot process. It was awful.
It was awful.
Take our advice, please.
There are 3 ingredients in this bar of soap.
Yep. There's lye.
There's lye, fat, and goat milk. That's it.
Yep.
No smell.
This one is our shampoo bar. It has a little bit of a clove and lavender smell, very, very faint. It doesn't stay in your hair at all. But we infuse the tallow with lavender, clove, and rosemary because those are really, really, really good for your scalp and your hair. And so this is our infused shampoo bar that we use. We do add jojoba to this. We might just take it out because we don't see a difference lather-wise because that was the reason we did it.
Yeah.
We didn't really find a difference between a plain bar with no jojoba versus a shampoo bar with jojoba. Mm-hmm. The lather is the exact same. So we might just take it out.
Yeah, but the key is these processes, and we're not showing you all this so you go buy our stuff. If you want to buy it, great.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
But it is so easy to make.
Learn.
It is so easy to make.
You could make a whole block of this that'll last you months.
Yep.
Months. And I use it for dish soap. We have a scrubber, like one of the hand brush scrubbers that I scrub with. And if I need to clean it, I know. Oh, well. If you need to clean it out, like a cup or whatever, you can get one of I found these on Amazon. They're made of bamboo, so they're compostable. And they're just the little flat scrubbies. And you just rub it on here, or I keep all the small pieces to the side whenever they get really small, and I fold it, and I go like this. And that's what I use for my soap for washing dishes.
Yeah.
So you have body wash, shampoo, and dish soap right here. This one bar can be used for everything.
Yeah. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
You know, and so back to the laundry for a minute.
Yeah.
She said earlier you can add the Epsom salts if you have hard water. If you want your laundry to be softer, throw the couple of tennis balls in there. People have done that for generations. Mm-hmm. I mean, not generations before tennis balls, but I remember my mom doing that with certain things, especially our jeans. Yeah. That way they didn't come out as stiff. And so you don't have to have fabric softener.
Yeah. And the fresh linen smell that you can get for your laundry detergent so your linens can smell fresh. There's a really good hack for this. You want that fresh smell, just go hang them outside. Windy days are best. It really gets it in there. But even on a still day, like it still smells fantastic.
Yeah.
And bleach. You don't need bleach because God made the sun and the sun can bleach. For instance, my baby, when he was born, we cloth diapered a lot until winter came and I didn't want to trek out in 3 feet of snow to hang on the line. So we're in disposables right now. But as soon as summer comes back, I'm going back to cloth. But before we started Elimination Communication, he obviously had lots of poopy diapers, okay? Mm-hmm. And poop stains are nasty. But guess what? All you have to do, even on an overcast day, you hang him out on your line, wet, and then the poop stain's gone within hours. And it's like a brand new diaper.
Yep. Sun does its work.
It's beautiful. I even got 3 diapers secondhand that all had stains and obviously had been washed and dried. I got those stains out with the sun. It took a little extra work because it was really set in there, but I got them out with the sun. All right, we talked about laundry soap, and as far as plugins and Scentsy candle things, those Febreze, that type of stuff, if you want fresh air in your home and you are trying to get away from those, but you need some sort of smell, there are beeswax candles. Smell wonderful as long as they have a natural wick, and they're 100% beeswax candles. Try and find them from a local farmer so that you know that they're good quality beeswax. Those smell wonderful, and they're plain. You can open your windows and let fresh air in. It's even good in the winter. It's very encouraged all year round. Open your windows, get fresh air in your house. Have plants. If you have a black thumb like me, find someone to keep them alive for you. I can't.
Yeah,
I kill everything.
There's several plants that you just look them up, air cleaning plants or however you want to Google it. But there are several beautiful indoor plants that they sell at Home Depot and all the little stores that actually clean your air. That's what their job is. Those spider plant ones, those are really fun.
Pretty.
And that really popular ivy, I don't know what it's called.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know house plants that well. But
or you could even go on find a Facebook group for where you live for plants and find someone who's propagating their plants and want to give them away.
Yeah, they do. People give them away
because they grow
get so
like
many.
crazy.
Yeah.
And if you became a crazy plant lady, you could always go to the farmer's market and sell your plants because you have too many and you can make some money.
I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
Would love to hear how your challenge goes, though.
Yes.
If you take the time to really think about what we're talking about, do some of your own research, and just so you know, we're not just pulling this out of thin air. I'm a big researcher person by nature, so when other people say things, I'm like, and I go,
I'll see about that.
I'll see about that. Yeah. I'll look it up, even if I believe it could be true. A lot of times, like, oh, that's interesting. That I just don't repost it like, oh, this is true. No, I don't do any of that. I just go and look for myself to make sure. And a lot of times there's information on both sides, and if that's the case, you have to decide what side you're gonna live on.
Yeah.
But if you take the time to look through and take the time to put that out on your counter, we would like to hear about it. If you don't agree with us, we'd like to hear your thoughts on that as well. We're all open to information, and the job here is to share information that we know, and we want y'all to share your information with us as well.
Yeah. So please comment below, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us immensely. But ring the notification bell so you can get a notification every time we post a video. We do our best to post once a week. We missed earlier this week because I was out of town, and the weekend and the week got away from us because
it does.
We're a small business and we have a life. We're doing our best.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful week.